When many people think of coding, they think of it as something that only a very narrow subcommunity of people are going to be doing. And they think of coding looking like this. And in fact, if this is what coding is like, it will only be a narrow subcommunity of people with special mathematical skills and technological background that can code. But coding doesn't have to be like this. Let me show you about what it's like to code in Scratch. So in Scratch, to code, you just snap blocks together. In this case, you take a move block, snap it into a stack, and those stacks of blocks control the behaviors of the different characters in your game or your story. In this case, controlling the big fish. It doesn't just stay on the screen. You can also code to interact with the physical world around you. Look at new ways of bringing together the physical world and the virtual world and connecting to the world around us. This is an example from a new version of Scratch that we'll be releasing in the next few months. And we're looking again to sort of be able to push you in new directions. Here's an example that uses the webcam. And as I move my hand, I can pop the balloons, or I can move the bug. So it's a little bit like Microsoft Connect, where you interact with gestures in the world, but instead of just playing someone else's game, you get to create the games. And if you see someone else's game, you can just say, see inside, and you can look at the stacks of blocks that control it. So there's a new block that says how much video motion there is. And then if there's so much video motion, it will then tell the balloon to pop. The same way that this uses the camera to get information into Scratch, you can also use the microphone. Here's an example of a project using the microphone. So I'm going to let all of you control this game using your voices. So maybe control your... As kids are creating projects like this, they're learning to code, but even more importantly, they're coding to learn. Because as they learn to code, it enables them to learn many other things, opens up many new opportunities for learning. Again, it's useful to make an analogy to reading and writing. When you learn to read and write, it opens up opportunities for you to learn so many other things. When you learn to read, you can then read to learn. And it's the same thing with coding. If you learn to code, you can code to learn. Now, some of the things you can learn are sort of obvious. You learn more about how computers work, but that's just